I'm Ed Larson, and this is my wife Terry.
I'm Terry,
And
and this is our God
yeah,
story.
yeah, like she said.
So, we wanted to share with you that God is our miracle working God, and we wanted to take the time to share a little bit about the way God answered prayer. For me, I asked all of you to be praying for us. I was asking for specifically for Ed to be healed last January and for him to be healed quickly. And during the process of his cancer and COVID, I didn't see him working. And I have to admit that at some point in that process, I began to think that he hadn't heard me or wasn't answering my prayers. And I became discouraged. And so I wanted to first thank you for praying and then to tell you that your prayers were answered, because in that fear of God not hearing me, I didn't see his hand. But afterwards, I look back and I can see how much he answered my prayer his way instead of my way. And just to give you some examples, Ed was in the hospital for 6 weeks, and during that time, each day I would see him getting worse and think, Lord, why aren't you healing him? And the doctors kept trying different things, and I kept thinking that I knew the answers more than God. And so I became discouraged, especially when the insurance company said, no, we're not going to let Ed go to a rehab center. We're going to send him home. And they had told us in the hospital that for each day he was in the hospital, it was going to take a week for him to recover. And so bringing him home when he'd lost 40 pounds and he was so weak and so confused, I really thought that that wasn't a good idea. And yet, in hindsight, I can see that it was so much better, because he was able to heal in his own home rather than in somewhere where he might have been exposed to other germs or not had the opportunities to remember how to climb the steps and to eat a good meal. And so even though I was afraid, I see that it was a better place for him to be. So I have a few verses that came to mind that I wanted to share with you. Obviously, there were unlikely mercies through all of this, but Psalm 46 says for us to be still and know that he is God. And that's one of the things that I learned, was that I can't ask God to answer the prayers my way. I have to wait and ask God for me to be still and wait for his plan. 1 Corinthians 2:9 says, no eye has seen, no ear has heard, and no mind has imagined what God has prepared for those who love him. So I see that now. I didn't see that then. And we're learning in Bible study this week. We visited James 1, 2, and 3. It says, when you encounter trials, count it all joy. And so I pray that the next time, because we will encounter more trials, and some of you may be going through trials right now, and it may seem like joy is the last thing on your mind, but the hand of God and the plan of God was so real to me this time that I hope I can share with you, that give you that encouragement that when it doesn't seem like God's hearing your prayer, that he's got a better plan.
I also want to thank you all for the prayers. I was just literally blown away by your response and the letters that I got, the visits that I got, the meals that were sent in, you know, it was just overwhelming. And as I just shared with Christopher, the fact is that you know, when I would talk about that before, I couldn't stop from tearing up. And but you know, prayers do work, and prayers help get me through. I mean, I can't take anything away from my wife, because Terry was. She doesn't want me to say this, but the fact is she went through more heck than I did. Okay, but yeah, I couldn't have done it without her. But the fact is that she got me through this, and God was the one that was giving her the guidance.
Amen.
We love you guys.
Thank you.